Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is CSU Infernal or Gavin, and welcome back to what a collegiate player thinks about LCS teams. Today we are moving on to the next team on our list, which is Lyon Gaming. This is a team I'm actually a little excited to talk about, just for the names on this roster alone. We're just running down the list. Obviously, I mentioned in other videos very briefly, Zamudo is not playing this first split, probably the whole year, due to more visa issues. Um, I'm also going to very briefly touch on previous teams that I haven't really had the chance to due to their own visa issues. I believe I did mention Disguise Kisno is playing for Kryra. Dignitas, FBI, and Ignar are not able to get there for the first split, so they have mobility and breeze. I did not mention this in the Dignitas video at all because I did not know it at the time, but with that in mind, I think the dig roster is substantially lower than where I would place it compared to where I did originally, and I already placed it very low. With all that in mind, Lion is not having that issue other than the Zamudo, but Dokla coming in, I actually think is an upgrade. We'll get to that when we get to it. But Inspired is already, he's been in the US. Sang didn't go back to Korea. Berserk, because his contract's still up. Berserker got here, I believe, last week, and Isles has been here the whole time. Obviously, we're going to go on the players. I think the other thing we do want to talk about very briefly is Rainover coming in as head coach. I think this is honestly not a bad pickup. Rainover is coming from Team Liquid, where he was the assistant coach with Spawn. Same, it was Spawn, Rainover, and Swiffer were the three coaches on Team Liquid. And Rainover is, let me double check. Swiffer's the right guy I'm thinking of actually before I, yes, it is. Okay, yes. Um, and Rainover is not a bad coach. I actually have very high expectations, very high. I hold him in very high regards. I think he's a very strategic coach and can do good. I just don't know how he's going to work with this roster yet. Without further ado, we're gonna run down, obviously, just talk a little bit briefly on like history of players and then like each individual player. So this team, obviously, Dokla. If you don't know who Dokla is, you probably haven't seen or been involved in the LCS in the past while. He is a very interesting name in the past few years. Obviously when I started watching League was in 2022. So he was on CLG when I started watching. I believe like when I was like getting serious into actually watching the LCS was when he started playing on CLG for real. No, I'm sorry. I watched at the end of 2022 when he started on CLG and all of 2023. And that's when I like started to get to know him for real. But Optic Gaming is where a lot of people know him, like this Optic Immortals team. A lot of people very briefly know him here. A little bit if you watched Academy, this is where he's going between tier 2 and 3. But CLG and Energy where he's really got his name as this like just very good weak side player that helped Energy make their run in winning that summer split in 2023 and then winning the or not winning, going to Worlds and making top 8 by beating G2. Since Energy, he went back and forth between a couple more um minor or not minor tier 2 teams, or he landed on 100 Thieves as a coach originally, and then Sniper was having his issues, so he replaced Sniper full time, and then that led to him having a really good showing at Worlds and him now being on a team with Lyon. So with all that in mind, what do we think of Dokla as a player? He's a middle of the pack top laner for a reason. Like, if we look at this guy's history, GGA, did he play in GG? Oh no, he was on Team Liquid Academy. My bad. 50, like just right down the middle win rate. Okay, KDA. Pretty decent CS per minute for a top laner. I believe Thanatos is still beating him out, but that's not a shocker. Kill participation is not terrible. Gold per minute or gold percentage is pretty good for top lane. Usually like 50-50, usually not ahead or behind, just kind of going even in lane with CS, going down in lane and gold from like I'm usually like tower plays and stuff like that. Maybe an assist kill to his to the enemy top laner. First blood kill and participation being that even is really funny to me. But he has a single pentakill. When? Interesting. I did not know that. That's cool. But he's a very like middle of the pack top laner. You know, he's like stock standard Renekton is what a lot of people think of him as. Same with Cassante. Pretty decent. He doesn't play Jace often, but when he does, he's pretty good at it. You know, like just these standard picks, he's really okay on. But in these random carries, this Jax 81% win rate. This Set 80%. Yone 60%. Fiora 75. 3 games on Shen with 100. It's not a carry, but my point stands. Akali 57%. Like he just has these random carry pocket picks he pulls out of nowhere and can just run over games with. And it's so interesting to watch when it happens. Um with all that in mind, I think with this team draft the way they did, even with Zamudo, who I believe is usually a pretty I did not have Zamudo's stats pulled up, so I'm gonna do that right now. But like even with Zamudo, he's a pretty weak side player, all things considered. Rumble, Udyr, Ornn, yeah. Random gangplanks coming up, and then like Poppy. I would not consider Greg a strong side. Cassante, Gwen's like an exception here. Aatrox can go either way. Renekton, Scion. Yeah, this is not like a strong side top laning player. So I think Dokla is literally just what they wanted with Zamudo, but a veteran name rather than a rookie. Moving on, we're going to Inspired, who, once again, if you don't know who Inspired is, you've really not paid attention in the past however long he's been in the league, since 2021. This guy is, I argue, the best jungler in the West. If you disagree, there's a better one in Europe. He is without a shadow of a doubt the best jungler in North America. This guy is good. You know, Evil Geniuses, where he builds up Danny and Jojo Pion. He builds up this crazy roster here. Where who was their top laner? Was it Someday? No, it was Impact on EG, my bad. Someday came in later. But yes, it was Impact. With this was like the lane a lot of, or like the EG team people had so much hope for. You know, going third place at MSI. Like people loved this team. And you know, they crashed and burned because Danny had his issues. They bring in Kaori. They crash out of worlds, barely make it anyways. And then they bring in FBI, and it just does not look good here. They get 3-0'd by GG, and he does not get to play after that because EG drops him, and they do this weird, like, huge mini roster. 2 pentakills to his name, 1 in NA, 1 in Europe, multi-region MVP, multi-time MVP. He has, yeah, LTA Player of the Year, 2 LCS LTA Player of the Years, because he won the LTA like Cross Player of the Year. He won the LCS and LTA North Player of the Year 24 and 25, MVP 22 Summer 25, Finals MVP in 24, All Pros. He has an LEC MVP in 20. Yeah, this was when he was on Rogue. Yes. Oh well, he was pretty much only on Rogue. And then obviously FlyQuest, where he had this huge run, you know, going to quarterfinals, fighting Genji, and then last year I kind of crashed and burned. I don't think I have to go into much more detail past that. Like I don't know what else I can really say. Pretty good win rate. CS per minute is about what you expect for a jungler. Best KDA is actually really interesting. That was last year against BLG. You look at his champion pool, he has a Sejuani being this high is kind of scary or weird when you think of this guy as like the Viego, Lilia, Karthus, like just full clear galore. Karthus being that low is also interesting. Tryndamere, he has a single game on. That's where he got that pentakill last year. He has Ivern is a huge pocket pick people like him for. Vi is a pretty good champion. He has Wukong, 81% win rate across 21 games on Wukong, 72 on 29 with Trund. This is just the best player on this team, without a shadow of a doubt. There's no reason we should even consider anyone else. Maybe not no reason, but I think if we all just have to admit he's the best player on the team. Moving on is to mid lane. We're going to Saint. Saint is a player I have had my eye on since he came to NA. I didn't know him before that because I don't watch LCK Challenger, but I heard he was always really good. So I'm very. Hold on. Sorry, my throat is dry now. I need to take a drink. He's a player I've always heard very, very good things about. And especially now that he's in North America, this he's a very interesting player I want to watch more closely, especially after like their very bad showing last year. But we look at the team they had around them. Oh, Hannah went to Ultra Prime? That's so interesting. We look at the team they had around them. I don't think Lions is a great support, as I mentioned in the Disguise video. I don't think he's that good. I think Hannah had issues, but that's kind of, like that's kind of all I can really say. He had his issues, but he was okay. Audi Land, I love Audi. He's getting up there. He's old. He's not performing as well as the younger guys in jungle, and it shows. And then Licorice, I will always defend. He's one of my favorite players of all time, but he's also getting up there in age, and he's not holding up a top lane as well. But then when they brought in Surdy, I think Surdy had a lot of issues that people were not. They just kind of wanted to hype up Surdy for the fact of him getting there, and not actually the fact that he was not ready to be in tier 1, especially not ready to be in tier 1 on a bottom team. I think if he was like had a Gakko situation where they brought him in to tier 1 to train him under a better teammate, kind of like how Gakko's getting trained by Whippo, he would be able to transition into a role this year so much better. But because that didn't happen, he's not on the team. I digress. Saints is once again just kind of your stock standard mid laner. Okay, win rate, but for this like win like this amount of games, yeah, that sounds about right. Really good CS per minute. Kill participation really good. First blood participation makes sense. Damage percentage is really good. I didn't even look. What's his first blood percentage? 33%. Yeah. But he's just kind of your stock standard. Like ignore the quirky Tristana. This meta is no longer a thing anymore. Right down the middle is here. Pretty good Talia. Interestingly bad Ari. Pretty good Silas. Really good Yane. Bad Oriana, but I think a lot of these games were last year. I would like to look at that actually. Only 3 of these games were last year, but he lost all 3 of them. If you take those 3 losses out of I would not blame him, I would not blame him. Let me double check that before I say that actually. Yeah, I would not blame him for this loss personally. And then this 100 Thieves loss. I would maybe blame him, but probably not. I think there's more issues with why Varus only has this much kill participation. and why they had Soul and still lost this. Oh, this was the game they got Soul and then lost the immediate next fight. Yes. Yes. They got Soul and then lost the fight at Seoul, which led to the game ending. I remember now. So I would not even blame him for that. I would blame the team for making a bad pick. Um I will blame him for this first loss. 0-4-2 against Cloud9. Well, maybe not. Oh no, it was a team-wide disaster class. I digress. He's a pretty okay player that just has these stock standard mages. LeBlanc is really good for him still. Aurora is really good. Smolder, which randomly comes out mid lane. Lucian, shockingly high, but it's not a Lucian meta. Syndra, which is really good right now in the meta. He only has one game on, but if he gets a chance, he can be good. I think my fear with Saint is he is a notorious tilter. And when you have Inspired being who he is, realistically, we all saw the FlyQuest video where Inspired's just kind of talking shit on his whole team to their face, like saying, why are we making like just all kinds of bad things to their face? I think when you have a player like that breathing down your neck as a mid laner, it's gonna make you tilt faster. And that's what I'm worried about with him. That's why I have some fears with this guy in the back of my mind. Moving on, Berserker. I'm not gonna spend too long on Berserker either. We know this guy, Cloud9. He got his name. Some people knew him from the T1 like Challenger days, but most people know him from his Cloud9 days where he just ran the league. He just was that guy from 21. All three pentakills are on Zeri and Cloud9. But from when he joined Cloud9, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. He joined in 2022. Can we stop getting ads? They did bad in that spring. Replaced the whole team. 3-0 summer. Do like 3-0 go really good in summer. 3-0 go really good in spring. Second place off following summer to energy because that's when that whole situation happens. And then they had the JoJo team roster where this just kind of fell apart for a bit. They third place barely missed out on MSI to Team Liquid, and then third or fourth place barely missed out on Worlds to 100 Thieves, and then he goes to DNF. Oh, the days I could talk about that DNF roster, but we will not. We'll just move on. Right down the middle win rate, really good CS per minute, gold per minute, kill participation. Usually doesn't die first, usually has a lead. Damage percentage, shockingly low, actually. But like you think of this guy, you just think of like these hyper scaling carries. You think Zeri, you think Fell. Sivir is the champion he really likes. There's a really good win rate on too. Jinx. Uh Most anything else he just kind of plays a couple games of. It's really like this 1, 2, 3 here is what he really likes. Especially this Zeri Kaisa. That's like his bread and butter. That's kind of all I have to say for Berserker. Sorry I don't have more, but like he's just the most state. He's what adds he he and Dokla add the same thing. There's two stable lanes that won't lose you lane, but they're not gonna giga win you lane unless the jungler gives them the wins. Or in bot lane's case, the support does. So who is the support? It is Isles. I also do not love Isles. I've just talked about how I don't love Lions as a support. I don't I don't think Isles is super good either. Sorry, not sorry to the Isles lovers, but like, does he have fans? He goes, like I don't know. He goes to Ocean. He's from Australia, so Oceanic kind of does like nothing here because it was a team that did things. Comes to C9, gets nothing done in this year. He's on C9. Um, Goes like these tier two, tier three teams. It's brought up to Dignitas where 23 to 25. Tell me a single thing they did. Excuse me. Like, randomly fifth place, but they end fifth, sixth. And then the only returning player when they did the whole redo, and then they get fourth place, going like right even, and then fifth place. And then the merger, he comes to the LTA now. Fifth, sixth, loses to FlyQuest. Sixth place, loses to Lyon. Or gets 2-1 by, no, they beat Lyon. They beat Lyon here, my bad. Sixth place to beat Lyon, who got seventh. And then they lose fifth, sixth to Team Liquid. And then they lose seventh, eighth to Disguised. And when you lose to Disguised, don't get me wrong, I love Disguised. But when you lose to Disguised, I think that's a sign something's wrong. So they got rid of him. But then Lion picks him up, and I'm not quite sure what the idea here is. So we're going to look at him. Right down the middle, win rate. Obviously, we're not going to look at CS per minute. KDA is shockingly better than I expected. I think one of the highest on the team. The third highest on the team, right in the middle. Kill participation is actually pretty good. I'll give him credit. And CS doesn't really matter. Vision per minute, average, a little on the low side. I look at supports. I try to look at 3 per minute. That's my opinion. Like 3 per minute is like what you should want as a support, but I digress. So we look at his champion pool and it's like, oh, he has a really good Karma. And Karma's not like bad right now. Oh, he has a pretty decent Tom Kench, but Tom Kench isn't really getting picked support right now from what I've seen. His Yumi is 75% win rate, but if you pick Yumi in pro play right now, you're just kind of trolling. Morgana, Greg his support. 75 both of them, but like, really? That's not like champs we're really seeing in support right now. His Tarek's really good, but no one. You need to have a draft built around a Tarek, and that's why I don't think it's going to come out. His Lulu's 60%, which is fine. Lulu's pretty good right now. His Bard is a lot higher than I expected it to be. His Brahm's not bad. His Thresh isn't bad, but I still don't. I think Thresh is a very bait pick. His Rel is very low, though. His Nautilus is right in the middle. Leona, basically right there as well. Rakan's a little on the upside. Alistair's a little on the upside, but like, all of this just kind of keeps adding to me that he's just a very middle of the pack player. He doesn't really excel in any one thing. He's just kind of okay at everything. And I think when you draft this team, especially because you're trying to draft a team around Inspired, that's not a team you want, in my opinion. I think you want a team that has these, like, at least one lane that should always win for Inspired to play around, and then kind of tell the other people to play around this. And I don't see that on this team. And a lot of people look at this team, they see Inspired, they see Berserker and think of his glory days, they see Saint, and it's like, oh, he should be good now that he has a good team. And they just auto put them first, second place, and I don't have that hope, honestly. I think for them to perform well, either one of the top two teams have to perform badly, or Inspired really has to whip them into shape. And I don't have that hope that Inspired can do that. I think coming off of a FlyQuest year where this is a very good roster, and I'm gonna say he had his he was a little headstrong in that roster, and he was undervaluing what his teammates were doing. I think coming onto this team, he's not gonna perform as well because his team's not gonna perform as well, and he's gonna realize what he had on FlyQuest. I don't think he'll miss it. I don't think he'll regret changing because a lot needed to change on FlyQuest, and they themselves said they didn't want to bring Inspired back. But I don't think he's going to be happy with the Lyon pickup. I think he's going to want to look for a new team. But I digress. What are your opinions? Do you disagree with me? Do you think Lyon is actually going to perform better than I'm saying they will? And they will, maybe they will knock in. I think at best a third, fourth finish. But like I said, do you disagree? Do you think I'm undervaluing Berserker and Saint? Am I saying Isles is way worse than he actually is? Please leave your opinion in the comments below. I would love to hear them myself. And as always, if you like this, you want to carry on, I will have another video linked here, moving this side, talking about the previous teams we talked about. And then we'll also have, there's a whole 3 more teams we have to get through. Next up being, I believe, Sentinels, yes. Oh, Shopify, I know my alphabet. I digress. If you like this, please subscribe and like the video. It helps me a lot. And I will see you all next time when we talk about Sentinels, which should be dropping later tonight as well, because I want to get the last 2 done on Saturday. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye.